Hello everybody and good evening and welcome to Cape Rugby TV. Yes, this is not an April Fool's joke and JP no did not get a makeover. This is Lyndon Julius and I'll be presenting and bringing the Cape Rugby show tonight for you. First of all, we'd like to thank our sponsors, Hisense, our technical partner, Score Energy Drinks, Dulux Maitland at number 30 Coburg Road, as well as Colour Toad. Later on in the show, we'll give you a chance to win a case of Score where you just SMS the word SCORE to 33090. And before we get into this jam-packed show, we've got an action-packed lineup as usual. Let me introduce you to my panel of esteemed guests this evening. First of all, Mr. Tariq van der Ros, good evening and welcome to Cape Rugby TV.
Good evening, Lyndon and Junaid. Good to be back on the show.
Yes, and Mr. Junaid all the way there from Paul. Good evening.
Lyndon, thanks for having me. Good evening.
Yeah, let's just get over, let the nerves just settle a bit here because this is a very hot seat to fill. JP Nodia is, as we all know, he's busy or he's on his way back from Japan. He took part in the World Championship or Karate World Championships where he won first place. So congrats to JP. In the show, in the lineup this evening, we will take a look at two matches. Bellville versus Tygerberg, Northern Suburbs Derby, as well as All Saints versus Macassar. And then we'll have a couple of interviews lined up for you, and then some Super Brew. The Stormers are playing this weekend against the Rebels, so we are looking forward to that. A whole range of interviews actually, and then also some Super Rugby results that we'll take a look at. So we'll get right into it because it's a very jam-packed show, so we'll get on going with it. So let's look at the first half highlights of Bellville versus Tygerberg. Everybody, welcome back. Yes, that was the first half highlights of Bellville Tygerberg. Tariq, some interesting running rugby there as we've seen in the last couple of weeks where the players just seem to sort of get the groove on. We're in the third or the fourth month of the preseason. It's probably the longest preseason that most players have been enduring. So what do you think of the game?
Yeah, big Northern Suburbs derby. Bellville in Super B They were always going to step up, the first couple of minutes, but the experience of Tygerberg was always going to come through. Tygerberg new coach Brendel Brandt, after Ricky Peterson done some good work over the last 2 seasons, and Tygerberg are looking good.
Junaid, what would you say, like the fact that Ricky's been there for quite a while? Would you say that having a coach for that long and someone take over, that sort of bit of momentum lost, or would you say that it is generally not the case?
Look, I think it's always the case because it takes players probably 2 or 3 years to sort of gel with the coach. And if you've had a coach for a good couple of years and a new one comes in, then it's always tough. Starting off again and getting that relationship with the coach, and he's got to obviously get to know his players. But I think the important thing there is if your team manager is still a constant there, then that helps build that bridge.
How important in like a Super League or in club rugby space is, Tariq, maybe you can come in here, is a team manager in the setup of an amateur or sort of semi-professional environment?
I think it's a role that at most clubs is underestimated. They see the manager as the kit guy, whereas clubs that truly understand the position and get the right guy involved, it is a big positive to the players. He should be a type of guy the players can approach. Sometimes he's more approachable than the coach. So that is a key figure, and clubs that have embraced that position, you can actually see it.
Today the fields look in very good condition. That's obviously RTS Bellville, the school. Would you say that with the league starting on the 1st, 2nd of June, that our fields will sort of look like that, most clubs' fields, or would you say there's still a bit of, excuse the pun, a bit of a grey area around the conditions of our fields?
Look, I think there's a lot of fields that are in, how do I put it, dire straits, and I don't think they'll recover in time for when the league starts. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done around finding alternative venues, and so that we can start playing. But I think that's going to be a massive challenge.
Bellville look rather very good against a Super League outfit. I mean, Tygerberg were Gold Cup contenders. Bellville sort of fought for relegation promotion to stay in the Super League B for 2017 season. Do you think that Bellville have done quite a lot of work in the off season? It surely looks like it.
Look, I mean, obviously they seem to be very competitive, and I know last year Super League B was extremely competitive. So from the team that ended top right down to
you guys obviously kept a close eye on Super B, knowing that you would be in Super B in 2018.
So I mean, we'd be playing Bellville this year. So I mean, I know that in the last 2 or 3 weeks there was still about 5 or 6 teams that could get relegated, and the margins were so small. So
very close,
it's going to be a tough one this year.
Tough one. All right, folks, that's the first half highlights we saw. So let's, after the break or after the second highlights, we'll tell you what the score is. So let's catch up with second highlights: Bellville versus Tygerberg from RTS Bellville. Hello everybody, welcome back. Yes, that was Bellville and Tygerberg there. Tygerberg running out victors 41-20. Tariq, it seemed like just towards the end, Tygerberg just showed their Super League A status, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, as I said, Bellville would always come out strong, at least in the first half, but just that experience, that weight, probably the better bench, if we can call it that, came through at the end.
And you can see the conditioning of Tygerberg's players also. They obviously are focused on it, but during the time when the moratorium kicked in, it was a bit tough. So I would say, or would you say that the conditioning of the players pulled them through?
No, definitely. And I mean, Tygerberg are really aiming to be, professional in all aspects. So I don't think they would fall short on the conditioning. And you can see it. You can see it in the players, their ability, their size.
Junaid, how important would you say is Bellville? Is this result? It's obviously it's a 41-20 loss for them. But how important would you say is a result like this against a team who's played in the Gold Cup for the last 2 or 3 years?
Look, I think more important than the result is the fact that they got to play against Tygerberg, and they get to measure themselves against a team that has played Gold Cup. So for them, that's a big positive, and I think most clubs are just looking to get that competitive games before the season starts, so that you're not on the back foot when you actually do start with the league.
Yeah, and obviously Province has announced that the league will start now officially on the 2nd or the 1st of June. So now clubs have sort of something to play for.
Yeah.
Do you think that the intensity of the friendlies will pick up?
No, well, it's definitely going to pick up. I mean, for us personally at Vineyards, we've got the Ramadan break coming up in the middle of May.
We'll chat about that. We'll chat about it but later on. Yeah. All right. We caught up with Bellville captain Emerton Boyson, and then straight after that, we chatted to Regan Peterson, the Bellville coach.
I think ultimately it was a good performance from our boys. If we take into consideration Tygerberg's team playing in the Super League A, we talked about measuring ourselves against a good team in the Super League A who fared well last season against a team from the Super League B, which we are. It was a local derby, so obviously the guys stood up to the plate. I think from our side, a good 60 minutes. I think a good first half, maybe a couple of errors here and there, but good execution on occasions. Like I said, it's a good 60 minutes, but the last 20 minutes we have to work on that, keeping that intensity for 80 minutes. I think we definitely have to work more on our fitness to keep that intensity for 80 minutes, and then we have to work on our lineouts. We lost a couple of lineouts at key times, and to keep a consistent scrum. We were scrummaging good on occasions, and we scrummed bad on occasions. So that's a couple of points we need to work on, and maybe the defense as well.
Vaste facette was 'n bietjie met die afwaartse kurwe gegaan. Maar die manne het daar goed van 'n taak gekwyt om teen so 'n groot gedigte span te speel, en ek dink hulle kan net beter op dit wat hulle doen. En ons gaan daarvan af net werk al by die scrum tyd. Ons het nou meestal van die tyd is buite die grense van Kaapstad beweeg. Waar die plaaslike spanne vir ons geaccommodeer het met wedstryde. So ons is elke, en as ons oefentye, dan is ons op ons met 20 man werk, en dit veroorsaak die water besigheid veroorsaak nou. Maar die manne kom.
Yeah, that was Emerton Boyson, of course, and Regan Peterson. Incidentally, Regan Peterson is a former Bellville player. Tariq, Regan, before we get to Emerton, Regan mentioned there that practicing becomes a challenge. We've heard this week after week after week. How challenging does it become towards this part of the season where you sort of know the league is starting, but you don't know really if you're going to be able to use your field or not? How important do you think is that challenge?
You see, this time of the year, most clubs, we're peaking towards the excitement of the league starting soon. I think the league would have started if it was a normal season, around about mid-April. So we take that out of the equation, and I think the problem is the mindset of the players. So even if clubs were making plans to practice on the park across the field or at the beach, it's just the mindset of the player at the practice session. and that of course affected numbers as well.
Emerton, Junaid Emerton mentioned there that in the first 60 minutes, Bellville sort of held their own, stood up against Tygerberg, barring one or two little errors there. How important do you think is going into a game like this, knowing that obviously you're saying the score is not so much the issue, but how important is a fixture like this for the senior players in Bellville?
Look, it's obviously the result. I think they could be happy with the result of that game, but more importantly, I know you mentioned there was like 20 guys at the practice now. I think Tygerberg's probably got 100 people. I don't know, but so the conditioning.
Why do you think is that, Tariq? Why do you think that a club like Tygerberg has got a bit more players? Obviously, they've got contracts and they've got all sorts of incentives. So what do you think draws players like that towards a club like Tygerberg?
I think the success of last season. I think that plays a big part. I know the management is working very hard. Someone like Kevin, very professional in their setup in terms of coaching. They got like 42 coaches. So this draws players. The guys are excited. They feel they're going to be looked after, and that helps.
Yeah. All right, and then we caught up with Tygerberg captain Gary Williams, and then of course, Tariq mentioned early on, the new head coach at Tygerberg, Brendel Brandt.
Ons het weer van 'n harde game teen Bellville vandag. Hulle het baie hard gekom in die eerste helfte. Ons het 'n paar skootfoute gemaak en 'n paar drieë weggegooi van onsself ook, maar ons het weer van 'n harde game. Ons het 'n hele paar ouens verloor van verlede jaar af, 'n paar nuwe manne wat ingekom het. Ons vat dit maar game vir game. Ons besig om 'n span weer te bou vir die jaar, maar ons sien ons uit na die jaar voor.
Ja, het is van twee helftes. Ja, die eerste helfte was ons baie swak geweest. Jy kan sien is 'n klomp nuwe manne wat by die klub is en dis die proses wat er basies deurgaan om die dinge in plek te sit. So is die hele paar ouens van Lydia verloor en soos die ouens ook gesê het, dinge gaan nie net oornag gebeur nie. So dis 'n proses wat ons deurgaan om die structures, klubculture en alles by die ouens in te kry. Ja, ons het voor die waterdroogte het ons omtrent 120 ouens per sessie gehad en met die waterdroogte wat aangebreek het, toe skryf ons af na omtrent so 55. So ons moet maar probeer inventief goedjies inbring in terme van net om die ouens besig te hou sodat ons nie agter kan raak. So jy kan sien ons 'n bietjie verroes. Ons probeer die oefeninge inkry, maar dit is 'n bietjie moeilik, maar control the controllables en werk met wat ons het.
Hello, welcome everybody. Yes, there Brendel just confirmed Junaid's statement or sort of early on about Tygerberg's players. Junaid, he mentioned there were about 120 players pre-season. That's obviously that's a gift that most clubs don't have. And then he said they knocked it down to 55, which again is a number that most clubs would welcome at this point in time.
Yeah, look, I think most clubs would have been happy with 40 pre-season and 20 now. I mean, look, that's the like Tariq said. Look, I mean, we got to give the management, Kevin and the guys are doing a good job.
We are still finding that teams or clubs are putting out 3 teams, and you find the occasional odd under 20 match happening. So there are clubs that have like 60 plus players to field 3 teams.
Look, for me, you'll always have those clubs. I mean, they've got their structures, but the important thing for me is the clubs that don't have.
But you guys obviously have like biryani nights and braais and voice-rolling evenings to lock your players. I know Tariq them have got butter chicken and they promise the guy to go to golden dish and stuff like that. That's obviously incentives you can bring in.
Look, it's tough. It's easier for some clubs and it's harder for others. And we've always got to consider the clubs that don't have access to this. Some clubs don't have access to a park or a beach or anything, and what happens to them, and what are we doing to accommodate them as well? So, and
we still find that these clubs are still, like I said, they're still fielding 3 teams on a Saturday. So obviously these administrators, like you said, you mentioned, they're rightfully saying, Tariq, where guys like Kevin Kivitz at Tygerberg, but there are many other administrators out there, guys at Whistling Wheels, Atlantis, NTK, SK Warmer, St. George's, Ahmadiyya's, Vineyards. They're doing such an amazing work that the players are there and we're finding matches happening.
Yeah, for sure. And let's not forget to mention there are clubs out there that are doing their business very quietly. They're not out on Facebook, they're not on Cape TV. But if you speak to a management member, believe me, they are up and running.
Yeah, okay. I would just like to thank Christopher van Wyk at Tigerberg for supplying us with that footage. That wasn't the game that our Cape Rugby crew covered, so thanks to that, Christopher. We will be taking a quick short ad break, but before that, remember, get your cell phones ready. Later on the show, we will be having our score competition where you get the chance to win yourself a case of Score energy drinks. Be back in a sec. Hello everybody, welcome back to Cape Rugby TV. If you've just joined us, this is of course the biggest club rugby show in the Western Cape. We might as well go so far as to say South Africa. And if you just tune in and you weren't here from the beginning, I'm standing in for the regular host, JP Nodia, who is busy traveling the world and raking in gold medals in his sporting discipline. As mentioned early on, you can win yourself a case of Score. Just SMS the word SCORE to 33090. Congratulations to last week's winner, Mr. Stanley September. Someone from the Cape Rugby TV crew will be in touch with you to collect or to deliver your case of Score energy drink. Sorry. And then we also went out to the All Saints versus Macassar derby out in Maltino Park. This is of course the second week that we've had a derby match, Helderberg based derby match at this venue. So thanks to the guys at Maltino Park for hosting Western Province Club Rugby teams there so that we can see two local teams in action. So let's take a look at the first of highlights between All Saints and Macassar. Hello, welcome back everybody. Yes, of course, it was the first half highlights. All Saints and Macassar. Tariq, All Saints newly promoted Super B, Macassar still in Super C. Obviously last year's fixture, All Saints got the better of Macassar. It seems like it was still evenly poisoned that first half.
Yeah, big Helderberg derby. I was in the mall on Saturday, Somerset Mall, and it was empty, but now I see where all the people were. They were out in Maltino. You know that, and that's the drawing power of those clubs. But All Saints and Macassar looking good the stage of the season.
Junaid, you guys, Vineyards obviously back promoted with All Saints last year. All Saints look like they obviously done their homework in the off season and the pre-season, but some very solid runners there in the All Saints jersey.
Look, All Saints is a good team. I mean, we've actually been promoted together with them from the Northern League, Super League C last year, and now obviously we're both in. So we've played quite a few games against them, and they're a solid team. They play a good brand of rugby.
They had some very, like, the players seemed, you always see players, especially at the club level, that aren't as conditioned as you would expect, your first team to be. But there are some pretty big boys and some pretty hard runners there. Junaid.
Yeah, look, no, I mean, last year I think we lost to them out on their home ground.
That was obviously after the Ramadan. Eh?
Yeah, but look, they've always been competitive, and I know their coaching staff and their management, they're doing a really good job in getting that team to the level, and I think they're going to be competing this year in Super B too.
Tariq, how important is, speaking of Ramadan, how important is that break for a club that breaks over or observes the holy month of Ramadan?
Look, a month break, no rugby, no practicing, is tough on the players. I've been doing some research of predominantly Muslim clubs coming back from the fast, and they do not win their first fixture after the fast. The only times that a Collegians or a Vineyards or a Strand United has won their fixture, they've played against another club, predominantly also, Muslim club, coming from the break. So it's really tough.
What would you say? What is the factor, Junaid, of that? Obviously, it's not playing, but is that the only factor, the fitness and the not sort of playing with your teammates or in a team setup? Why would you say that stat is so?
Look, I think Tariq will probably have better knowledge around this, but I would assume that if you haven't practiced or played for a month, and it's almost as if you're coming back from a sort of off season, not even a pre-season, because if some guys literally don't do anything, your team hasn't played, so now you're going up against a team that have been playing 4 competitive fixtures while you were sitting at home, and they've been practicing. So in that 1 month, it's like you're starting all over.
What would the solution be, Tariq? Like, what do you think? What would be the solution then for? Because obviously that's a very important month in the Islam religion, or the belief that the holy month of Ramadan, you've got to observe it. So what do you do as a predominantly Muslim club during that time?
Let me tell you what we've decided at Ahmadiyya's this season, which is new to me as well, because no other club I've been at have decided to do this. We will continue practicing. We'll have our evening prayer for an hour, and then we'll actually continue with conditioning. The management have agreed to it. The players have agreed to it.
Is that allowed? Is that can you do that? Is that something that as a Muslim rugby player can you then after your prayers, can you then practice?
What we've discussed was, I mean, it's a time that you want to renew yourself, you want to cleanse yourself, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with looking after yourself physically. Okay. So if we take that into account, we fulfill the evening prayer. There's nothing wrong with some. But
obviously, you need the proper lights, Junaid. You'll need the proper lights. Your players need to be in that mindset of we are here for the purpose. It's for that first 2 or 3 fixtures.
Look, also, it's important that you have the facility too, because I mean, it also depends on. Most guys go to mosque. Where are they going? Which mosque? How are they going to get to the field? Are they getting home?
So it becomes a bit of a logistical.
But we'll also probably, even if we're practicing maybe one night in the week, or just getting together just to keep the guys together. So we're also looking at doing something to make sure that the players. For us it's probably easier because we're in Paarl, and there's with the mosque in Paarl, and nothing's too far. In Cape Town it might be a bit of a challenge, because guys have their preference on where they go to mosque.
What we've actually decided was we're having our evening prayer at the field.
Okay.
To get the guys together.
Okay, they've got an imam.
So something we try.
So maybe you guys should think.
They've got an imam as one of their players, so he'll lead the prayers.
There's 42 staff, the coaching staff. They also have one. There's an imam.
Maybe we must bring the imam to our practice field.
Yes, so we'll get this final score there between Macassar and All Saints. Let's take a look at the second half highlights. Everybody, welcome back. Yes, of course, you can infer from the MC Boys supporters there that the scoreboard went in favor of Macassar, 26-15, the final score there. They're getting the better of All Saints. Tariq, a bit of a revenge there of the 2017 loss.
Yeah, we're just thinking about that. I know All Saints won the derby against Macassar, the league match last year, so I think the Macassar players and faithful is feeling a bit better this week.
Junaid, there were quite a few supporters there alongside the field. Do you think as a team playing or as a team, obviously their main goal is to get league sort of match fitness. Do you think the supporters at this point in time, their support or their presence at the field is important?
Look, it definitely is because it lifts the players. The one downside, I wouldn't say it's a downside, whether you're playing a friendly or not, your supporters want you to win. And I mean, we saw that on Saturday. It's like, you know, you're playing a friendly match, you're looking at, you know, combinations or whatever. Your supporters don't understand that. They look at the scoreboard.
Or did you guys play over the weekend?
We played Van der Stel
the weekend
in
Paul.
We got one of the school fields, and then
and the supporters they want to see the scoreboard in the team's favor.
Yeah, whether you're playing, you know, trying some new guys out or whatever, that's not what they see. They want to see a win. Yes,
everybody. After the break, we'll chat to All Saints prop and probably one of the more seasoned campaigners at All Saints, Llewellyn Eriksson. And then also his technical advisor, actually, is probably more a bit of a director of rugby, Mr. Denzel Davids, or better known as Appie Low. And then also we'll chat to Macassar captain Benedict Julius, and then the Macassar coach, Mr. Christopher Langeveld, be back after the break. Hello everybody, welcome back. Yes, of course, Cape Rugby TV, as mentioned, you can find us on Facebook, www.facebook.com/Cape Rugby TV, and then also on Twitter @Cape Rugby TV. Share all your scores, news, photos, matchday posters, results, and we will air it here on the show on Wednesday nights, channel 263 at 9 p.m. And then, as promised, we will go into the interviews of Llewellyn Eriksson, and then immediately after that, Denzel Davids.
Yeah, it was tough. I think the guys struggled a bit to switch on today. It's a derby. It's a friendly as well. Friendlies we used to rectify mistakes and so on. But I think the derby tag played a big role in this game today. Guys playing the ball, the type of rugby played in the areas, the wrong type of rugby in the wrong areas, and it cost us heavily today. That's one thing I can say about All Saints, even Macassar as well. The group of supporters we have, it's a massive group, and no matter where we play, we had games in Montague, we had games in Natendal, the buses, the taxis we went to, wherever we go, the guys are there, they always support us. I know they're gonna chirp us a bit because of the result today, but it's just one of those days. Not 100%, we're not there 100% yet, for sure. We're working towards that. That's why our management is trying to set up this derbies, the tough games. Because obviously Super B, it's week in, week out, it's hard games. So we're just trying to create that same scenario with our friendlies this year. That's vital. We started bringing the youngsters in the friendlies this year, one by one, started to give them like 10 minutes, 20 minutes in the second half. And last week as well, we could start them, they could play the full 80 minutes. And the connection between the more senior guys and the youngsters, at the moment at the club, it's good. It's very good. Yeah, for the past 8 years, I've been at All Saints. I don't see myself leaving here. I'll probably finish in a few years' time. Hopefully a few years' time, if everything goes well. From here, nowhere else.
Voor mij is het een soort van een goede ding, maar ook hier, ik hou niet van verloren. Als je goed om te verloren, speciale derby. Macassar en die hele bekomst in de andere teams, het derby is mensen voor ons. Het betekent bij voor ons als club en gemeenschap. Maar gelukkig aan Macassar, wat die wedstrijd te winnen, is baie moeilijk. Om die spelers bij elkaar te houden en om rechtig te oefenen, een volle veld is baie moeilijk. Ons maak gebruik van die, onze Danabi, het is een goalbaan wat niet eigenlijk gebruikt wordt. Dan gaan we nou dan zien toe. Maar ons dagen moet opdagen. Omdat belichting hier soort van ding, het rechtig tegen ons. Ik hoop maar, dat gaan binnenkort veranderen. We horen misschien iets van VP dat ons kan oefenen op de velden. Maar op een huidige ogenblik trek ons moeilijk. Maar ik denk niet dat dit de verskoning is. Van ons is het team wat nog altijd kan terugkomen. Ongeacht hoe de situatie is. Dat is een grote familieband in hierdie club. En die nieuwe spelers wat ons bijgekregen, hulle het ook gekom met nog nieuwe families wat ons ontmoeten. En ik denk dat is ons sterkpunt. Onze spectator bond is baie sterk. En half en half wat je kan zien, als je altijd wat je speelt, als liever familie of oompie of neef. Maar ik denk dat we hoeveel bij elkaar.
Hi, welcome back everybody. Yes, Llewellyn Eriksson, prop of All Saints, and then also Denzel Davids, Somerset West board, and All Saints legend, extraordinaire coach, player. He's a role model to so many in the Alderburg region. Thanks a lot to Denzel and so many other players, coaches, previous players and previous coaches out there doing their bit for club rugby. Tariq, Llewellyn mentioned there of the players finding it difficult to sort of satisfy their supporters with a loss like that. Obviously they are feeling it, but we've seen that friendly these days, the scoreboard really does matter.
Yeah, and as Junaid also mentioned, the spectators come there for a result. Their team is playing. The result sort of takes their mood on the Saturday evening if it goes their way or not. And All Saints having come out the loss against St. George's last week, and then 7 days later a loss against Makassar.
But how contrasting are those losses? St. George's obviously a Super League A outfit. Maybe Junaid, you can come in here. 15-18, and then this week they fall short 26-15. They sort of, the score margins are quite bigger. Obviously the game against Makassar was a bit more flamboyant and a bit more open. Would you say there's a bit of a dip in All Saints in there? Obviously playing two heavy matches, would that affect them?
Look, I think yes. I mean, playing St. George's last week, I don't know if they perhaps had maybe injuries or, guys that weren't ready to practice again early in the week. But, two tough games. Obviously, Makassar is a tough team. It's a derby. So there must have been something that played a role, in the week leading up to this game and immediately after.
Denzel mentioned there saying that obviously no one wants to lose, whether it's a friendly, a league match or a promotion or knockoff match. The supporters, it's about the family, it's about the community. He said there's uncles, aunts, cousins, everyone is next to the field having a good time, and the gees is good.
Yeah, look, like I mentioned earlier, it's and Makassar, a derby like that, doesn't matter when you're playing them in the season. It's it's do or die for spectators, and they've probably been bragging about their team and how good it is and how far they're going to beat you, and so Saturday it comes down to it, and the coaches are looking at other things and maybe giving guys a chance, combinations, and trying things out, and the spectators, they want to see a win.
Tariq, now that we know sort of the league is starting the first week of June, how important would a side have to become to be settled now? Obviously combinations have been tied. We've sort of had like a black hole. You don't know when you're playing, so you can go wild with the combinations. Now that the league is sort of 4 weeks away, would you say the combinations should start to be settling in?
Yeah, I think clubs should go back to the old timing of things. 6 weeks to the league, get some friendlies in, work on the combinations. Based on time periods, I think we sort of in a period that is familiar with us. Up until now, it was sort of, clubs were sort of lost sort of in the dark. So more familiar timings, and coaches should now start looking at this, early June as the start of the real thing.
Of the real thing. Yes, and then we caught up with Benedict Julius of Makassar, no relation to me, and then also the coach, Mr. Christopher Langeveld, also a very strong coach at Zandvliet High School and then also at the club.
Eerstens, wat ek kan sê, 'n derby teen All Saints is altyd hard. As ek terug kan dink na laas jaar hoe ons op by Gardens verloor het, het ons boys ook maar net besluit, omdat ons sou kom 10 hulle, gaan ons step up om 'n goeie dag vir hulle te gee en vir hulle oorwinning ook teenoor hulle te wen. Maar rugby was goed op die dag en dit was kliphard geweest. Baie van die ouens ons ken mekaar en spelers het net gestep up en gesê genoeg is genoeg. Ons behoort daar wat hulle is in Super League B. Ons is nou Super League C. Maar rugby was baie lekker geweest. Spectators in die veld en die environment was fantasties geweest en belovend. Yes, ons oefen nou al vir die tyd, vir die 4-5 maande oefen ons nou al baie hard. Ouens kom step nou altyd nader wat die daar geweest het in die begin nie. Hulle kom nou by ons klap groei en dit prosper en ek kan sien alles is positief. Coaches, hulle sit hard in, hulle werk hard met ons. En ja, ek kan dit sien as 'n positiewe jaar vir ons. Ja, 100% reg, ons is reg vir Super League C, ons voorbereiding is goed. Ons manne, hulle wil al begin 'n league speel want hulle sê hulle wil net begin en hulle stempel afdoen om te gaan waar ons behoort in Super League B.
Dit is altyd 'n groot derby. Kyk, almal het gesien dat die wedstryd. Hulle het al vir my al vroeër in die jaar die spelers. Ander spelers ons was die ding lankal beplan, maar toe die water restrictions was nou inkom, toe moes die uitgestel word. So toe het geweet wanneer ons gaan speel nie. Dus jy kan sien die week die voorbereiding, ons het vorige week verloor teen die Dorings. Maar eintlik was 'n goeie ding want ons het 3 vooruit is 3 gewen en miskien het jy ons 'n bietjie groot kop gekry. Ek kon sien die intensiteit van die oefeninge die week was baie bitter. Miskien is omdat dit ons se spelers want almal wil mos nou. Maar ons het mos 'n policy in die begin van die jaar gehad. Nie oefen nie. Jy speel nie. Soos 'n dissipline is baie bitter wat ons was. En die klangees is goed en dit is net vir ons 'n stapie wat ons vorentoe gaan. So elke wedstryd kyk ons net het ons verbeter op die vorige wedstryde. Is ons in die rigting waar ons wil gaan. So ver so goed. Nee, ons het heel wat spelers al ons spanne is vol met reserves, met mense wat nog nie die span kan speel nie. Die enigste probleem wat ons nou op die oomblik het is die jong spannetjies so in die 20s. Ons werk nog daar en ons het nog nie heeltemal onder 20 spanne, maar die senior spanne is heeltemal vol. Ja, dit ons het toe ons begin in die begin van die jaar, so ons moes begin in Maart of April. En vir 'n tyd toe hulle dit sê, toe daai announcement uitkom dat ons nou nie gaan speel nie. Toe baie van die ouens weer moed verloor en miskien nie gekom nie. Toe dit weer van ons werk gekos om die ouens weer terug te kry. En toe het ek vir die bestuur gesê, ons moet speel, ons moet vriendskaplike wedstryde speel. En die vriendskaplike wedstryde het gemaak dat hulle nou weer terug is by die klub. So nou het ons weer ons sê ons het te veel, jy het nooit te veel manne nie, maar ons het oorgenoeg manne om ons 3 spanne vol te maak.
That's a first that we hear Tariq play. You know, it's sounding like, but like Tigerberg, like Breno was saying, we only have 55 players at our club, where some clubs, you know, would give tooth and nail for 55 players. But Macassar, Benedict Julius mentioning there, he's saying that, you know, the players sort of took a while to get going. They sort of hit a few knocks there in the pre-season, you know, players coming up 15, 30, 13, 15, 20, you know, and then sort of now at the end, the coach saying there, Mr. Langerveld saying that they obviously, they full 3 teams.
One of the things he mentioned was, which I like that he mentioned was, he says, the players said enough is enough, it's time to step up. And you know, once you got players taking responsibility, you know, Macassar is just too inconsistent with the player pool that they got, you know, the ability of their players. And you know, as I said, I like that he said, and it couldn't just mean match time, but he probably meant, you know, practice as well, commitment at practice. So, but I think Macassar will have a good season.
Yeah, I think they will. Yes. Also, if you would like to get any clothing, apparel, sportswear, boots, dogs, whatever kit you can think of, SaveSASport.com is where you would want to navigate to. 20% of everything. Rugby boots, footwear, apparel, as mentioned, Puma, Mizuno, Canterbury, New Balance, Asics. Use the coupon code CAPERugbyTV and you get yourself 20% off of your order and a free delivery anywhere in South Africa for your order above $7.50. We will take a quick short ad break, and when we get back, we will chat a bit more about Super Rugby, the results, and then also take a look at some other Western Province Club Rugby results. Be back in a sec. We had some other results over the weekend as well, Club Rugby results. We'll take a look at that. Botterfee went down to Kells River 38-36. Belleville and Tygerberg had the match that we featured 20-41 to Tygerberg. Safco beating Helderberg 19-14 in a tough match out in Grabouw. Lankiedok All-Stars losing to Pinal Villages 26-10. Blue Stars United 23-19 winning Franschhoek. Veldrift and SK Warmers walking away with a win there 40-43. Tulbach winning, thumping Easter River actually 45-21. The Dwirings losing against Morningstar 15-35. Paternoster beating Elsie's Rivier United 49-8. Roses United coming away with a narrow win against Paul 34-31. Allendale and Young Peoples 38-18 to Allendale. NTK coming away with a win against Villager. Two Western Province teams 22-7. And Brackenfell and Durbell, another two Western Province team 57-7 for Durbell. Darling edging Goodwood 33-30. Tow Park beating or losing against Belhar 26-34. And then also obviously the game that we featured, All Saints and Macassar 15-26. There's a couple of coaching courses coming up in the next few weeks. Level 1, 15s and 7s. The date there, few dates there, 25th of May is the next one. Closing date for that entries is the 18th of May, 14 July, 12 October. And then there's a notice out for all past provincial players from the 7 previous unions before unification. Wednesday, 9th of May at Newlands. You can contact Dion Isaacs on 084-983-1592. This will be at DHL Newlands in Cape Town, or you can email dion02@mweb.co.za. We'll have a bit more info on that in next week's show. Super Rugby results from last weekend. The Blues beating or losing to the Highlanders 16-34. Waratahs and the Lions winning there 29-0. Very good results for the Lions. The Crusaders rampaging the Sunwolves 33-11. 12-36 in favor of the Chiefs over the Reds, and the Bulls beating the Rebels 28-10 at Loftus. The Sharks walking away with a win against the Stormers 24-17, and the Brumbies losing against the Jaguares 25-20. Tariq, the Stormers, obviously it's not good to see us on the wrong side of the scoreboard, but it seemed matters sort of was evenly poised in that match. The Sharks also having a dismal season. The match was so many mistakes, but I think there's a few positives for the Stormers.
Yeah, not good for the Stormers supporters. It wasn't a good game at all, in my opinion. The Stormers back at Newlands now for a couple of weeks. But, it's not nice that they're losing just before they come to Newlands if you're looking at stuff like spectator support and those sort of things. But I'm sure we'll see a better Stormers at Newlands.
Yeah, the Stormers playing, as Tariq mentioned, there's 3 home games. Junaid, it's the Rebels, the Bulls and the Chiefs. Do you think any of these 3 will be wins for us? Obviously the Rebels this weekend, Friday 27th of April at 3 p.m.
Look, I think the Rebels went down to the Bulls last week. I mean, look, they'll definitely target that one. The Chiefs is obviously going to be a tough one.
They don't have Sunnyball Williams this time, so maybe there's a... Maybe there'll be a plus for us there.
And I think Frans Malherbe is coming back from injury.
Kitshoff has been playing very good rugby. He's been very consistent. He's doing his thing sort of under the radar if you look at it.
I think there also is a Jean-Luc Dupree that's back. I think he played Super Sport Challenge last week, and because Damien's been good, but he's been playing every single game.
Yeah. So you sort of had a feel that he might be
look, sometimes he needs a break as
well. Or do you think, because he's obviously in the Under-20 World Cup, which is happening later this year in Georgia, do you think that, or in France, do you think that maybe that's sort of playing in his mind at the moment, or do you think it's just fatigue?
I don't know. I think Jean-Luc coming back would be a big positive, so that they've got that option of both fly-offs. It's just Philips has been he's a young guy, and they literally threw him into the deep end and said, "Go play every game, 80 minutes."
And then obviously the Bulls next week or 2 weeks time, Tariq, 5th of May. It's obviously a big one. We owe them a return on the one that they handed us at Loftus. That thrashing, I think it was 23-33. So I think we owe them.
Yeah, Newlands hasn't been a happy hunting ground for the Bulls in recent seasons. I our team can keep that record up.
Yeah, take a look at our Super Brew log, the Cape Rugby TV Super Brew pool. You are welcome to join. Just search for Cape Rugby TV and join the pool. This week's log or top 10 is Nila at 1, Orion, Mervito, Spoo, Chris Lemac, Georgion from the couch, Manasi Kat, Jace, and Klein. And as we mentioned early on in the show, the league obviously starts on the 2nd of June. The leagues will end in September, and Scrummet has been announced as open for registration. The registration deadline for all players is up until 31st of July. So, and the leagues will be contested with 2 teams only in the Super League A, B, and C, with under 20 additionally. The third teams, unfortunately, there won't be any league fixtures for them, but clubs will in all likelihood arrange friendly fixtures, as clubs have been taking matters into their own hands in those last few months, arranging their own friendlies when the moratorium was imposed or has been imposed. And the regional leagues, the Southern City and the Northern League, will only play in the first round, and the top 3 will progress to the top 9 promotional league in those 3 various leagues. And then promotional and relegation games to continue. Formal communication will be sent out by the union as soon as possible. Yes, Tariq, thank you very much for joining us, and hope to see you soon.
Thanks, Lyndon. Good to be on the show. Always enjoy it.
Yeah, Junaid, all of the best for Vineyards for this week, and make things happen in Paul for us.
Thanks for having me, and I wish Tariq all the best with Ahmadiyas this year as well. It's going to be tough, but we're holding thumbs at all the clubs.
We'll make it. We've been very good with our club. Our club administrators have been very good this season, so we would like to give props to all of them. And thanks once again to our sponsors, Hisense, our technical partner, Dulux, Maitland 30 Coburg Road, Score Energy Drinks, and then of course Coloured Tone. That's it for tonight's show, folks, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's show, and we hope that you have a fantastic rugby weekend. Bye-bye.